We bring her to the hospital. When we go there, no baby.
What do you mean?
The nurse said the baby died.
Did you see a body?
No.
Did you get a death certificate?
No.
The Susan Show is brought to you by San Myrna Paper Products, Virgin's International Trading, and Sherwin-Williams.
Chat! The RGA Gleaner Netballers present Big Money Bingo with Winston Casanova
at the Gleaner Company, 7 North Street, Saturday, November 1 from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Admission $2,000.
Enough more money. Big Money Bingo, $150,000 to be won. $150,000. Big Money Bingo all night with DJ Xavier.
Sponsored by Carib Joyce Pharmacy, Bright Diamond Funeral Services and Supplies, Vikings Furniture Depot,
Harry's Funeral Home, 876 Nurses, Soccer Express Prints and Manufacturing, Tranquility Funeral Home,
Kendall, Counts Manufacturing, Naraj Confectionery,
Sunshine Snacks, Slangy J.A., Rapid Aqua Air, Couriers and Destiny Furniture and Appliances,
BM Auto Sales Limited,
AE Auto Sales Limited,
Buddy's Funeral Services. Get your pre-sold tickets now for only $2,000 at RGR Gleaner, 32 Lyndhurst Road, the Gleaner Company, 7 North Street, and Carib Joyce Pharmacy, Shop Number 1, Caribbean Estates, Bernard Lodge, Main Road, Portmore.
Tickets at the gauge, $2,500. Get your tickets early. Enough vibes, enough prizes, surprises at Big Money Bingo.
Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with our continuing coverage of Hurricane Melissa. Special welcome to our viewers on TVJ International in the Cayman Islands and online at onespotmedia.com, and we welcome our viewers on YouTube as well. We begin this afternoon with the latest from the Met Service on Hurricane Melissa. The center of Hurricane Melissa is 230 kilometers southwest of Kingston or 200 kilometers southwest of Bluefields, Westmoreland. I believe we have a more recent update. It is actually 104 miles south of Bluefields and 135 miles southwest of Kingston. The Met Service says a slow turn towards the northwest and north is expected today and tonight. On the forecast track, the core of Melissa is expected to start moving over Jamaica tonight and early Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds are near 270 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Some additional strengthening is forecast today with some fluctuations in intensity likely before Melissa makes landfall on southwestern Jamaica as an extremely powerful hurricane on Tuesday. The Principal Director of the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Evan Thompson, spoke earlier at a press conference at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management earlier today and urged residents to take heed to the warnings of the government to move to higher ground. This as the storm continues to pack heavy winds.
Now, the projected path takes it to the southwestern part of Jamaica, impacting either eastern Westmoreland or extreme western St. Elizabeth as it makes its entry, its landfall on Jamaica. Then it's expected to continue moving to the northeast. All at this time, it is expected to be a major hurricane. Right now, a Category 5, it's quite likely that it will drop in terms of the strength of the system slightly to a Category 4 before it makes the landfall. But still, let us prepare ourselves for a Category 5 hurricane, if you can actually prepare for a Category 5 hurricane. And then it will move over that southwestern part of the island, moving toward the northeast. We expect that the exit will be just about in the vicinity of St. Anne, along the coast of St. Anne, which means it is not going directly north, but somewhat east of north. So making its entry near the border of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth, at this time that's a projection, and then moving across sections of Trelawney and St. James, in the interior of the island through the cockpit country probably, and then moving across along to the coast of St. Anne. So that's the projected path. During this time, it's likely that it will weaken a little bit more. It may exit the island possibly as a category 3. It might still be a weak category 4 at that time, and then it will continue on its way closer to the eastern part of Cuba. So that is the forecast. It is expected that that entry, that landfall, will take place early on Tuesday. That means within 24 hours, tomorrow morning. It could actually be during the early hours before the sun. Is there a sun? We haven't seen it for a few days. but when at sunrise, we still have that time that we call sunrise, whether it rises or not. And so at that time, we should be seeing that there is a landfall of the center of this hurricane. A landfall means, yes, that the center is moving across the coastline, but it also means that the areas around that coastline are going to be most impacted. Around that eye will be most impacted. So parts of eastern Westmoreland, parts of western St. Elizabeth, and then surrounding areas of those moving as it continues to move, the closest areas to that center will get the greatest impact. We'll get the strongest winds reaching hurricane force. So hurricane force winds are expected over parts of Westmoreland as well as St. Elizabeth. The extent of hurricane force winds is just about 80 kilometers, I believe, because it's about 40 on either side of the center. So that's the extent of hurricane force winds. Depending on where that center is, you can measure whether your area is likely to experience it. But of course, there is some shift in exactly where that landfall will take place. Then the tropical storm force winds extend a much greater distance and should cover the entire island, or most of the island. To the east will be impacted by tropical storm force winds, even though the center is not moving across your area. So if you think that you live in Kingston and you will not experience the eye, and so you are free from fear or worry or concern. I don't encourage fear or worry, but I do expect you to be concerned about what is taking place. If you think that you are free from that, think again, because the heavy rains will also affect you. The strong winds reaching tropical storm force could still continue to affect you as we go through the day on Tuesday. That's all the way through tomorrow. The exit of this system is likely to take place in the evening hours on Tuesday as well. So it's not expected to remain over the island until Wednesday, because there will be a slight increase in the wind speed, in the direction of, in the speed of movement of the system. Right now, it's still moving at only about 6 or 7 kilometers per hour, but it should pick up a little bit as it is moving across us. And so we expect only about 6 to 8 hours as it moves from the south coast to the north.
Okay, Evan Thompson there, Principal Director of the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. And we're joined now by our own resident meteorologist, Romaine Robinson. Romaine, tell us what's the latest, and if you could just show us there on the map behind you.
Sure, we do have Melissa in our image. We can see a very clearly defined eye in the center of the system. Now, there is very slow movement towards the west, and we are still expecting it to make a turn towards the west-northwest. And we're still expecting it to make a turn towards the northwest and then towards the north between this evening, tonight, and early tomorrow morning. So this track is going to be taking the system closer to the western portion of the island of Jamaica, closer to the west coast. Currently, based on the measurements, it's about 180 kilometers south of Treasure Beach in St. Elizabeth.
But Romaine, I've seen in some WhatsApp groups people saying with that movement, oh, it looks like Kingston isn't going to get much. Dispel that notion for us,
No,
please.
that's not at all the case. We do expect the entire southern portion of the island to be affected by strong winds and rain over the next 24 to about 36 hours as the system makes its way. There are sections of the island which may not be experiencing the devastating Category 5 winds, but there is the likelihood that most places are in the influence of about Category 3 winds right across the island for both north and south coast over the next period.
Which is devastating because yes. Hurricane Gilbert was a Category 3.
3, right,
yes.
That did make landfall. And we are expecting definite landfall based on the projections from the Hurricane Center. So persons should be really concerned about the next couple of days.
So tell me, is this mirroring Beryl's path in any way? Is it similar?
Not exactly. Beryl was slightly closer to the island when it was moving in this particular area, and it moved further towards the west, not over the island. Beryl didn't make landfall. However, this system is expected to make landfall over the southwestern portion of the island.
And we've seen a slow deterioration of conditions. We've seen rough seas from Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth. We've seen some flooding in St. Thomas. We've seen landslides in Portland as well.
Yes.
Talk to us over the next couple of hours leading into tonight.
Well, we have some weather stations that are still functioning. A lot of them are solar-based, so we haven't had much sunshine, so they've stopped reporting. But we did see tropical storm force winds across several sections of the corporate area and also across sections of St. Thomas earlier this morning and even last night. We also have accumulated so far between 50 to about 70 millimeters of rainfall if you extend from the southern portion of Clarendon all the way through to about St. Thomas. So we still are accumulating rainfall from the system, and it's quite possible that we get up to quite possibly upwards of 500 millimeters before the system exits the north coast.
And 500 millimeters, that's about 20 inches?
Yes, that has really never been heard of in this space, in that short space of time.
It's a lot of water.
Right.
And the Earth's already saturated. So.
Right, we have been having rainfall basically every day for the past week or so.
Talk to us now, when I look at the map, and I think you've said this to me in conversations in the last few days, that we get most of the rainfall or activities to the east of the storm.
Yes, that's the typical manner in which tropical storms and hurricanes behave. You tend to have the strongest winds and the heaviest rain in the northeastern quadrant of the system. We call them quadrants because we divide the system into four.
So that's where the very dark area there.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm.
So that area, and it is expected to be impacting most of the St. Elizabeth and Trelawney parishes over the next couple of days. So persons across those two parishes would be seeing the eye and the eye wall.
Okay, my producers we're going to switch to the zoomer map, which that gives you, I think, a slightly clearer picture of its actual movement.
Yes, we can see that the turn is expected to begin between tonight and tomorrow morning very early, and it's likely to be turning or keeping that northward motion with that same very slow forward speed of about 6 to 7 kilometers per hour, then making landfall across the southern portion of St. Elizabeth in the very early morning tomorrow.
You're talking like 1, 2 a.m.
Right.
So it's going to be impacting us mainly the night.
Yes. The influence should begin by that, but we are expecting the eye to make landfall by about 12 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. So there is also the likelihood that it slows down a little bit before it moves on.
And there is a lot, basically what comes before the eye happens immediately after as well.
Exactly.
Getting the other side of it.
Exactly. So conditions will begin to be felt across the area from as early as tonight going into tomorrow before the landfall of the eye in the afternoon tomorrow.
So this sounds like it's going to be sitting there for about, 12 hours, maybe 14 hours?
Based on the passage, yes. It could be as much as between 14 getting up to about 18 hours. Very slow movement. It's going to be interacting with the land, so it's likely to be slowing down somewhat. The only recompense we have is that it's likely to be weakening before it exits somewhere along the Trelawney coast. It's likely to be getting down to about a category 4, which isn't much weakening, but still some weakening nonetheless.
We've been told in the past that mountains break them up and weaken them. But so just move down from 5 to 1?
From
5 to 4, sorry.
Yeah, the thing about the path also is that this is relatively flattening compared to the eastern portion of the island. I think the highest mountain ranges you have in this general area between like 600 going up to about 700 meters, whereas the Blue Mountains is 2,200, right?
I see.
So it's not going to be a very significant weakening when you look at the passage.
Now, it's making that turn. It just seems like a radical turn because it's moving west, kind of northwest there.
Right.
Is there anything that could, for example, overnight just let it continue? Yes.
Not based on the model projections and not based on the information that we have been getting out of the Hurricane Center. We also have lots of weather systems further west that are preventing the movement into the Western Caribbean as well. And we also have strong systems in the central and eastern portions of the basin that are going to be somewhat squeezing it. So this is likely the path of least resistance for the system across the next few days.
All right, finally, what can we expect in the next, 6 to 9 hours?
More of those tropical storm force winds continue to affect sections of the east. Tonight, they should be increasing to hurricane force winds, and this is for most of the south. Also across sections of the northeast, they should begin to see the Category 1, Category 2, Category 3 storm force winds between tonight all the way up until tomorrow morning. And then the Category 5 winds are expected tonight across sections of the southwest and across sections of northwestern parishes as well.
All right, Romain, thank you very much. Very sobering picture there. Works Minister Robert Morgan says last-minute efforts were made to clean silt and other debris from the Sandy Gully in St. Andrew to mitigate against flooding expected from Hurricane Melissa. He was speaking at the Odd Pen press briefing earlier today.
We've done quite a bit of work across the island in terms of drain work mitigation, and several critical drains across the island have been impacted, have been targeted, and we will continue as long as it's safe to do so. So you would have seen even yesterday, we had a front-end loader in the Sandy Gully trying to continue to create a pathway for the water to move to the sea. On Thursday, we also started work on the channel to the sea in the Sandy Gully. And this section is critical. And I want to explain a little bit as to what we have done at the Sandy Gully. We were in the process of planning a massive rehabilitation of the gully, also a massive desilting program for early next year. But the hurricane did not acquiesce to our timing, and as such we had to move very quickly to the urgent work. The most important thing that we are trying to do is, one, protect lives and property of the people who live adjacent to the gully past the bridge near Seaview Gardens, and two, the bridge that is on Spanish Town Road, which is a very critical bridge. It connects to the ports. As I said before, it connects to Jamaica's most important health facility, KPH, also Bustamante Children's Hospital if you're traveling from that side. So it's very important that we not allow that bridge to be damaged if the hurricane does inundate that area. We've removed 500 loads of silt from under the bridge or in the vicinity of the bridge over the last 5 days. Some persons are saying, well, we should clean all the way to the sea. That is 1.5 kilometers from the bridge to the sea, and it is 37 meters wide. If that section that we cleaned was 500 truckloads of silt, think about how many trucks and excavators and backhoes and front-end loaders would be required to remove 1.5 kilometers of silt with a width of 37 meters, a couple thousand trucks. So we have done as much as the engineers have said we can do at this time to create a pathway under the bridge so that water can flow.
Okay, thank you very much. That clip from Robert Morgan. 500 loads of debris removed from the Sandy Gully. And of course, if anybody knows that when you're coming into Kingston to the east of that bridge, the part of the gully that leads into the sea, it's a whole lot. In fact, it looks almost like a forest in parts of it. We're going to go now to speak about health matters, because the hospitals are taking only emergency cases. All elective cases have been postponed, but we will come right back after this break with a conversation with the Minister of Health.
Chad, the RGA Cleaner Netballers present Big Money Bingo with Winston Casanova.
At the Gleaner Company, 7 North Street, Saturday, November 1 from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Admission $2,000.
Enough more money. Big money bingo, $150,000 to be won. $150,000. Big money bingo all night with DJ Xavier.
Sponsored by Carib Joyce Pharmacy, Bright Diamond Funeral Services and Supplies, Vikings Furniture Depot,
Harry's Funeral Home, 876 Nurses, Soccer Express Prints and Manufacturing, Tranquility Funeral Home,
Kendall, Counts Manufacturing, Mirage Confectionery,
Sunshine Snacks, Slangy J.A., Rapid Aqua Air, Couriers and Destiny Furniture and Appliances,
BM Auto Sales Limited,
AE Auto Sales Limited,
Buddy's Funeral Services. Get your pre-sold tickets now for only $2,000 at RGR Gleaner, 32 Lyndhurst Road, the Gleaner Company, 7 North Street, and Carib Joyce Pharmacy, shop number 1, Caribbean Estates, Bernard Lodge, Main Road, Portmore.
Tickets at the gauge, $2,500. Get your tickets early. Enough vibes, enough prizes, surprises at Big Money Bingo!
Television Jamaica delivers unmatched impact. With 82% of the free-to-air market, TVJ delivers your message to more than 1 million viewers daily. From our award-winning on-air broadcasts to our authentic local programs and powerhouse digital platforms, One Spot Media, YouTube, and our social media pages. Your message connects with Jamaicans and a global audience. Build your brand or drive instant results with TVJ's trusted quality and unrivaled reach. Ready to make an impact? Advertise with us today. Call your TVJ account executive at 876-926-1100 or visit televisionjamaica.com. Let us help your business grow because TVJ reaches and TVJ delivers.
Okay, welcome back. As I was saying before the break, the health of the nation is very crucial at this time. We know there will be some injuries, and we already have had 2 fatalities. A man fell off a tree in Lucy, and a member of the health ministry's team in St. Elizabeth, a tree fell on him last Friday, and he subsequently died in hospital. He was admitted to the local hospital in St. Elizabeth and transferred to the University Hospital in Kingston, where he later died. Joining us now is the Minister of Health, Christopher Tufton. Minister Tufton, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Right. So I know the public hospitals are only accepting emergency cases, and elective surgeries have been postponed. What has the health ministry and officials in the medical staff been seeing in terms of cases? Because I gather you've been having quite a few cases coming in which are related to the hurricane.
Right. So yes, I'm now at the EOC, the Emergency Center in New Kingston, where the team is fully active and monitoring and having meetings and just preparing. Our hospitals are functional with emergency cases and preparing. We have been seeing some injuries related to the storm preparation. I was told a short while ago that we have had about 13 such injuries over the past 2 or 3 days. And this involves persons, there's one electrocution, there was persons on ladders falling off a roof. Basically persons trying to be helpful, to prepare to protect themselves, their property, their families, and not having the full, whether experience or being anxious and getting themselves into challenges. So we want to use the opportunity to advise Jamaicans, while it is very important to prepare, it's also very important to be cautious, and where you need help, if you can get help, to secure that help as it relates to, whether it's nailing down zinc on the rooftop or cutting back trees, all important in preparation, but also could pose a risk also. And as I said, the team has reported about 13 cases linked to one form or another of preparation. I think in that was 1 or 2 motor vehicle accidents.
So tell me, are clinics open, any clinics open, or it's just the 25 hospitals that are open?
No, there are some health centers that will remain open, as I understand it. Hospitals are the key ones, but there are some designated areas which may be further afield from a hospital that will provide some support. The last time I checked, we had just over about 700 staff members on standby not on standby, who will be part of the sort of emergency response spread across the country. And of course, our 24 hospitals are up and running, and I've been visiting a few of them, and the team members are prepared with all the arrangements in place for them to work additional hours.
Minister, there are about 6 hospitals from my calculation: Port Antonio, Anota Bay, Port Maria, Noel Holmes, Black River, Princess Margaret Hospital, that are literally on our coastline, and they're very vulnerable. And most of them are pretty old facilities. Anota Bay was extensively damaged in a hurricane some years ago. What's been done? How worried are you about those facilities?
So all our hospitals, particularly those on the coastline, have an evacuation plan. I was reviewing earlier, just before I came on, the one for Black River, because based on the trajectory of the storm, we see where the surge is likely to be greatest in and around that St. Elizabeth, Black River area. And Black River Hospital, we just actually completed a seawall at that facility, or a new one, the other one being damaged. I think it's about 12-foot high wall, which will provide some protection. However, we have decided to evacuate aspects of the services there to inland, with some of the inpatient services which we cannot move are now being transferred to the higher floors. So that hospital has a multi-story inpatient ward service. So we're moving everyone from the lower floors to the higher floors as part of the protection should the surge go over the wall and come up into the yard. The other ones have been asked to review and put in place their evacuation measures. So if they need to evacuate, they will have an alternate location so to do.
But that 12-foot wall is at the Black River, you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
right.
Black River.
So even if you have a 12-foot wall and we have storm surges, and they said it could go up to, I think, as high as 13 feet.
Right.
You could have literally the lower floor being entirely flooded. I mean, like 5-10 feet.
You could, which is why nobody will be on the lower floor. And that's why the relocation, which would include not just the patients, clearly the staff, but also the critical supplies, will be relocated. And that is taking effect as we speak for Black River, in the case of Black River. The other areas, we expect some surge, but not, I think, based on what I am being told by the experts, Black River would be the most significantly impacted. Okay. If you go next door to Sav Lamar, that hospital is further inland from the sea. So they would have some buffer there between the coastline and where the actual facility is, even though Sav Lamar as a town is prone to flooding because it's directly...
It's almost at sea level.
It's almost like sea level, as is the case with Black River.
Right. And Noel Holmes, no concern there? Because that's literally, you can throw something through a window from a ward into the sea.
That's true. So Noel Holmes, as I understand it, has a relocation plan. They are relocating some of the services with a plan to do additional relocation if they think the need arises. All the hospitals on the coastline have such a plan, and some may have partial relocation.
Do you
or will have partial relocation.
do you envision having to evacuate all or most, if not all, of those 6 hospitals, though, at some point?
Well, you know, if we have to, we will. This storm is not to be taken lightly, and that's the message that I think the government has been pushing out there. There are, I mean, I don't think we'll see anything like this, assuming it continues on this course, since Gilbert, and it will be more powerful. So we do anticipate damage, flood damage, and our hospitals clearly, especially those on the coastline, we expect that they will sustain some damage. They're built with some level of resilience to protect against these natural disasters. So we do have some buffer there, hopefully, to reinforce against the wind and the flood damage. But should we need it, we will relocate.
You have announced a plan, I think, last year, and you've started construction, for example, at Spanish Town Hospital and the University Hospital of the West Indies. Why isn't part of that plan the relocation of these 6 hospitals? Because we're going to have hurricanes again in the future. And when our healthcare system was built by the British, some of them 100 years ago, it was nice to have hospitals by the coast. The Montego-based hospital was on the Gloucester Avenue across from the Pelican Grill right there. That's just not a place for a hospital in 2025. As with many of the other cases, why isn't a plan or your part of your plan to relocate these 6 hospitals? And I'll also add Princess Margaret Hospital, because I remember that in Gilbert, that was devastated. Extensive roof damage, extensive damage to the building.
Right. So if you note, the hospitals that are now benefiting from significant build-out, St. Anne's Bay, May Pen, of course, Cornwall Regional, Western Child, the new hospital, Spanish Town, UHWI, and then hopefully will follow KPH and Bernard Lodge. All of these are not on the coastline. And these hospitals are given priority based on population centers and where the greatest needs are to serve the largest number of persons. But the government is embarking on a program to renew its health infrastructure, and that is very tangible and very visible. That has started and is taking place. In the future, of course, those other hospitals that are vulnerable to natural disasters of this kind, those considerations would have to apply. But as of now, where resources are actually being spent are on hospitals that have that buffer against flood-related damages or seawater-related damages. So we are making some progress in that regard.
Okay, in terms now of the current hurricane and the preparedness of the hospital, do you have sufficient equipment in place and stuff that you're going to need to deal with the type of injuries that will arise from a hurricane?
Yes, as of now, I've done the checks. So I'm at the EOC now, and the team are here coordinating. The supplies that we have, for the most part, are in place, whether it's medication or other forms of supplies. We had an issue which we're trying to sort out as it relates to a particular type of blood work, because we've had a few cases over the last couple of days that has taken up a lot of the supplies. What do you call them? Platelets? Is that what you call it? Platelets.
Yes.
Platelets, right?
Blood platelets. Yes.
Which is perishable, and therefore you can't produce too much of it or store it too long. And so what you have is a moving stock of a relatively limited amount. And if you have a kind of outlier type of number of cases, then those become used up. And I think we've had a couple of those over the last couple of days. So the team are now working to see how that can be replaced. We have had some offers from our neighbors next door in Cayman for the possibility of taking some in. And I was in a discussion with the lab here, the public health lab, Dr. Tapper and her team, and Dr. Dawkins Wright, who's heading up the emergency response, to see how that could be best dealt with. So where we have an issue we are coordinating to try to fill that gap. And in this instance, that is one such case. We are also trying to ensure that the basics are in place. There are a couple of hospitals like Linstead where they have storage capacity for a day or a day plus of water. We have made arrangements with the National Water Commission to put some additional trucks on site. Most of the other hospitals have at least 3 days without using the NWC facility. So we're actually making arrangements to ensure that logistics and those facilities are in place.
All right, Minister, I'm afraid we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us. You did answer the last question I had about water and the backup when the NWC water supply goes. All right, thank you. We'll talk to you again at some point during the hurricane.
Okay.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton speaking to us. We move over to Portland. At least one community is currently without power. Farmers are also counting their losses already as heavy winds have destroyed some of their crops on Sunday night. Anthony Lugg has the details.
Hurricane Melissa is moving westward along the south coast, and the system is expected to make landfall sometime on Tuesday. I'm currently in the eastern side of the island, and already the impact is being felt. Just behind me, banana trees, plantain trees, pear trees, you name it, they're down. It's a clear sign that when this system makes landfall, it could bring devastating impact.
What we have to do right now, all the animals, them and all those things, you know, get a beating right now and different.
So you have animals?
Yeah.
What you do for them to try to cover them and protect them?
When we try to put something over there and we like a breeze, just this little breeze, blow them away. Yeah, so right now we have to just throw the rock and different inside of them pen now, to really that them can stand up and that them do cramp their foot.
As the residents from the east brace for the potential impact of the weather system, they're all hoping for the best.
We don't have no light right now, all phones dead. My ice cream them melting out now, I have to be giving them away. I have to be giving away drinks when I'm in the freezer. Well, luckily the meat them still frozen, you know how long those can last. So it's a big loss for us right now because we never expect the current to be off so quickly. So things could have been more frozen and better organized.
Reporting from Sherwood Forest in eastern Portland, I'm Anthony Lugg for TVJ News.
Okay, Anthony Lugg in Portland. And of course, you've heard residents speak about losing power, the ice cream melting, she's had to give it away. And that's so important. One of the things, and this is for persons who already have power, if you can put as many containers in your freezer to make ice, that will help you when the power goes, because you will have extra ice and it will, help you at some point. And of course, the other key thing is to minimize opening your fridge or the door of the freezer as well. And on the question of power, Director of Corporate Communications at the JPS, Winsome Callum, this morning stated that a number of communities on the northeastern and eastern end of the island have been without power. She also had other warnings for Jamaicans.
This typically happens with the rain and the wind starting to affect some parishes. We are seeing some outages, and this is primarily in the parishes of Portland, St. Thomas, and St. Mary. We are seeing isolated outages. I think we have just over 14,000 customers in small pockets who are without power. Remember, we have a customer base of over 700,000. So you understand the context where we have about 14,000 without. These are in several different areas, different communities. It's not one area that's affected. And what we're finding is that the outages are caused largely by trees coming in contact with the lines. We are going to try to keep the lights on for as long as possible. But if the grid becomes unstable and there's a danger to the grid itself or to any infrastructure, we will make that decision. The first rule after the hurricane is do not go sightseeing. Yeah, it's lots of excitement happening out there, but stay put. until everything has died down. If you must go out, stay away from fallen poles, stay away from power lines. Even if you think they're cable lines, don't go near them. You never know. Okay. And yes, sometimes when you see the fallen poles, the line will trip automatically and electricity will be turned off, but you do not know. So take no chance whatsoever and keep the children inside. Please do not let them go outside.
With some column there. Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon responded to a question from TVJ's Andrew Chisholm about a fund for Hurricane Melissa.
Can you state so far how much the government has spent on hurricane preparations? That's one. And I know it's early yet, but based on the forecast from the Met Office, is it a possibility that Jamaica's catastrophic bond will be triggered in this instance?
All right. So in terms of the number, in terms of how much we've spent so far, won't be able to give you that right now. We're kind of in the middle of, prep. We're not really adding up numbers right now, but we're spending appropriate numbers in terms of what we need to do to prepare. And as always, remember that they're triggered by particular events. And so we have one on the cliff that is triggered by how strong the hurricane is when it makes landfall. And we also have an excess rainfall policy that will be triggered if we have rainfall above a particular threshold. And so the team will be monitoring that, and of course the technical teams will work through what the actual numbers are, and so that will determine if it is triggered, and we will let you know as soon as we do know whether or not it will be triggered.
And we go now to the east, where our reporter Jamelia Maitland encountered a dangerous situation in Bamboo, St. Thomas.
Surreal scenes here in the back of a yard in Bamboo River in Morant Bay, where the sea has almost transformed the landscape. Palm trees look as if they're floating. I'm standing in the back of the yard. It was a playground for children, a playpen still for animals that have been secured there. Now beyond that are about 2 to 3 homes. They've since been battened down. Residents told me that they have evacuated. Now for those though who live to the front of the yard, they're waiting to see. This is one of the areas that we will be monitoring even as Hurricane Melissa makes landfall in Jamaica.
Okay, and over in Westmoreland, our reporter Kimberly Petty reports on the situation there.
So this is a popular Blacksway Beach in Belmont, Westmoreland, where on Heroes Weekend was filled with persons who were swimming. Now today, just hours before Melissa hits down, it's very rough out there. As you can see, the waves are coming in. Now these buildings are threatened to collapse anytime when the hurricane hits Jamaica the real way. And so residents and those business owners are basically saying that they will be at great loss. Reporting here along the Blacksway Beach here in Belmont, Westmoreland, I am Kimberly Petty for TVJ News.
And just before we go, the health minister just informed me that all health centres have closed. They closed yesterday, and the hospitals remain open. That's the latest on Hurricane Melissa. And Milton Walker join us again at a little after 3 o'clock after the lottery draw as we continue monitoring Melissa.
Are the National Emergency Hurricane Shelters in the parish of Clarendon.
TVJ's Hurricane Tip. If your car stalled in a flood, leave it and seek higher ground. Rapidly rising water may engulf the car. Pick it up and sweep it away.
That was a TVJ Hurricane Tip.
Up next, the Supreme Ventures Lottery Draw.
Shelters in the parish of St. Elizabeth. These are the National Emergency Hurricane Shelters in the parish of Westmoreland. These are the National Emergency Hurricane Shelters in the parish of Trelawney.
The Caribbean's premier club tournament is back at the office. Wednesday, October 29, the capital city of Kingston comes alive as Mount Pleasant FA battles Trinidad and Tobago's Defence Force FC in the semi-final of the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup. It's an epic showdown of skill, determination and passion. Get your tickets now online at caribtix.com or in-store at Meister Sports, Sovereign Village, Portmore, or Boot Gas Station, Draxall and Constance Spring Road. Tickets $1,000 pre-sold, $1,200 at the gate, VIP $1,500. Sponsored by
Clips and More Auto has the clips you need for your vehicles guaranteed. So don't waste time driving around searching to find those hard-to-get clips. Just call the clip specialist. We also have new in stock rain visors for Toyota Hiace, Fielder, Axio, and lots more. So now you know. What are you waiting for? Visit us at 18 Cargill Avenue, Kingston 10, or find us on Facebook and Instagram at Clips and More Auto. Remember, it's not too late until it's too late.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome back to our continuing coverage of Hurricane Melissa here on TVJ. We've got the latest bulletin. This was the bulletin that came out at 2. It was a little late and the center of Hurricane Melissa was 230 kilometers or 145 miles southwest of Kingston, or 180 kilometers or 112 miles south of Bluefields in Westmoreland. Melissa is moving towards the west-northwest near 6 kilometers or 3 miles per hour. A slow turn towards the northwest and north is expected today and tonight, followed by a further turn to the northeast at a faster forward speed on Tuesday. On the forecast track, the core of Melissa is expected to start moving over Jamaica tonight into early Tuesday. Maximum sustained winds are now near 280 kilometers, that's 175 miles per hour, with higher gusts. Hurricane force winds extend outward up to 45 kilometers or 30 miles from the center, and tropical storm force winds extend outward 315 miles or kilometers, or 195 miles. Hurricane Melissa is expected to produce rainfall amounts reaching 350 to 750 millimeters or 15 to 30 inches over parts of Jamaica in the next couple days, and especially over eastern and central parishes with high amounts over hilly terrain. Catastrophic flash floods and landslides are likely. Tropical storm conditions are expected to spread over Jamaica today, and hurricane conditions are expected to begin tonight or early Tuesday. Small craft operators, including fishers on the quays and banks, are strongly advised to remain in safe harbor until all warning messages have been lifted and wind and sea conditions have returned to normal. And just to let you know that there has been some change between the bulletin earlier, which had the wind speeds at 160, and they're now up to 175. So there's been a significant increase in the wind speeds in the storm. Now, we're going to St. Thomas. Residents of Danvers Pen are bracing themselves for the impact of Hurricane Melissa. The Negro River, their once gentle neighbor, is putting them in imminent danger. But as Jamaica Maitland reports, even with the best of preparations, they fear it will be no match for Mother Nature.
Residents retreat from their homes close to the Negro River in Danvers Pen, St. Thomas on Sunday. With each shower of rain, the river dangerously creeps close to their homes. In the community,
our last minute shopping this, because we hear so the rain will come tomorrow, the breeze and the powerful rain will come tomorrow, which is Monday. So right now, I'm going to try to get my rice and peas pot up, yes, and some food to eat in the meantime.
Mobile market business operator Uton Hall warns of the destruction.
Once the water come, mommy, you have a plan to move.
You can't stay, mommy. Because when water come here, tell you look on the natural river, mommy.
Sandbags packed like sentinels at the gates and the doorsteps. But the residents are sure they'll need both higher power and high grounds to secure them from the impending natural disaster. Lorraine Williams says it wasn't always like this. He, like other residents, have their theory on what's causing the flooding.
No grind no did it. The grind gone.
We need the grind to sort out. We need it to sort out because every time rain come, we have to move.
It's why Anthony Robinson is angry.
You see, if the council and the minister, them response to rain, miss, ask them people up on the lane, then could have set the grind before this rain and this storm here. But they don't care about we. But when the election comes, they care about we. May I tell you.
Mr. Robinson revealed that he's had to relocate to a family home that's on higher ground. So too Natalia Sutherland.
The last time when we were here and the water catch us up here, and it just wasn't pretty. It just wasn't pretty to know that we are swim out of dirty water.
The residents are also preparing to go to a shelter. But when TVJ News visited the Danvers Pen Primary School on Sunday, there was no shelter manager, nor were there any visible preparations put in place to accommodate citizens. Disaster Coordinator Martina Medleygood says there was a breakdown in communication which resulted in the absence of a shelter manager. She says the issue has since been resolved. A subsequent check at the school revealed that another shelter manager was present and resources allocated. Meanwhile, CEO of the Municipal Corporation, Kevin McDowey, says all 42 shelters in the parish are open. He's, however, encouraging citizens to take along their personal items, even as they work to ensure that resources are shared among the most vulnerable. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Okay, and we're going to go and show you some cameras around the island. We're going to start with the camera in the gorge, the one at Flatbridge. As you can see, not much activity there, and the river is still pretty normal. It's gotten much murky over the last few days with the heavy rains, and I suspect they've maybe closing the gorge soon, but the gates at Damhead and at Bogwalk will be closed at some point. I think my producers have been trying to establish whether they have been closed. We did see, well, there's a car coming, so it's clearly not been closed yet. So I suspect it will be closed at some point this afternoon because it's still fairly okay to drive over the flat bridge. And as it pulls out, normally when a storm or we've got long periods of rainfall, the water rises and pretty much covers the bridge. Sometimes you can't see the bridge. And then you also have a lot of debris, particularly bamboo, that's washed down and will get trapped on the girders supporting the bridge there. But pretty normal activity there at Flatbridge, nothing major yet. But of course, we expect that to change over the next 6 to 12 hours or so. Deputy Commissioner of Police Warren Clark says the JCF, in collaboration with the JDF, are fully prepared to help secure communities and support major agencies across the island.
The JCF will be responsible for the enforcement of these measures to ensure everyone's safety. There is a three-phase scheme of maneuver. We are now at the end of the pre-storm phase. All necessary preparations and mobilizations have been made. During the blow of the hurricane, we appeal to all to hunker down, and we expect that there will be no movement. It is crucial that during the passage of the eye, everyone remains indoors. This is not a time to venture outside. During the recovery phase, the JCF will be out in our numbers, securing citizens, visitors, public property, preventing looting, facilitating support to shelters, and assisting with rescue missions.
Meanwhile, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, have been given their marching orders to maintain law and order across the city and the country as we brace for the hurricane. Now, safety and security are going to be major issues as the system bears down on the island, especially with residents still refusing to evacuate low-lying and flood-prone areas. Part of the reason some give is that they want to secure their property from looters who usually capitalize on the damage and disorder that's created during hurricanes. Now, we're going to go and have a look at what's happening in the camera on the Kingston Harbour. And as you can see, visibility is much reduced compared to what we saw this morning. The sea's pretty rough. As you can see, pretty choppy right now. This is now at 3:20 in the afternoon here in Kingston, Jamaica. But visibility greatly reduced. Before this morning, you could easily see all the buildings on the waterfront. They were clear. You know, we could identify the Foreign Ministry, the Bank of Jamaica and Scotia Centre. I mean, you can make them out. You've got the Office Centre building there to the left, and then you've got the, I think it's the ROK Hotel down there. But it's very, very cloudy and murky at this time, as to be expected as the conditions deteriorate over the next few hours. And it moves a little further to the east. You can see the water's very choppy at this moment. All right. And with most businesses now closed in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, residents are making a last-minute dash to stock up on essentials.
I get last minute, I get some water and everything, if I know, say, no, hey, it's coming up. You better prepare.
We get stuff already, but you know, through the distance, the slow motion of the storm, we have to get a little more to stop up and where you have leave over now.
In the meantime, District Officer for the Santa Cruz Fire Department, Nevis Dunkley, says some trees along roadways and content pose a serious risk ahead of the hurricane.
We're going to have a lot of work to do, right? Because when the breeze comes, all block the road. It's going to fall down and it's going to block the road.
Block off electricity, internet, everything.
Yes, everything is going, electricity, internet, everything basically is going to go down and for a good while too. So all these trees should have cut down already.
Okay, thank you very much there for that report in terms of what happened in Santa Cruz. Now we're going to go and have a look at what's happening in May Pen, Clarendon. As you can see, not much activity. There's still some cars there. I see a few people by that supermarket. I'm not sure if it's still open, but there are about 4 or 5 persons outside, and I see 3 vehicles right there. May Pen, of course, on any given day is quite a bustling town in terms of activity. I think I see a TVJ news vehicle in there just beyond the clock there in the center of May Pen, but most shops and businesses are closed in that area there in May Pen, the capital of Clarendon. And of course, based on the projection, Clarendon and Manchester and St. Elizabeth are expected to be significantly affected as the storm comes ashore. And of course, the rest of the island is not going to escape anything. We may get, instead of a category 4 type wind, we may be getting category 3, but we are going to be getting serious winds and lots of rain pretty much everywhere in the island. No one is going to escape. Unlike what happened with Beryl, where the south bore the brunt of what happened, and Kingston and other parts were largely unscathed. Not so this time. We're all in it, and we're all going to be impacted significantly. And as Category 5 Hurricane Melissa inches closer to Jamaica, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has issued a stern warning to Jamaicans to heed the evacuation warnings. In a national address, Dr. Holness said, based on the trajectory of Melissa, there could be catastrophic consequences for citizens living in low-lying and flood-prone areas of the country.
By all assessments of the current situation, while we pray for the best, hour by hour, it is becoming apparent that the impact of Hurricane Melissa could be greater than Hurricane Beryl, certainly in terms of rainfall and flooding. We can lessen damage and speed up recovery by taking preparatory and precautionary measures before the impact of the hurricane. It is expected that Hurricane Melissa will make landfall on Tuesday. I take this opportunity to reinforce the appeal to residents of low-lying areas, historically flood-prone areas, gully banks, riverbanks, hillsides, and other vulnerable areas to take precautions to protect your property where possible, prepare your evacuation plan, and comply with the evacuation orders given.
In the meantime, the Prime Minister says millions of dollars have been dispersed to intensify the cleaning of drains and other waterways across the island.
Over 400 million Jamaican dollars has so far been allocated for drain cleaning and waterway cleanup, including at least $3 million to each constituency to carry out emergency drain cleaning and local preparedness. In addition to preparing the country for the impact of the hurricane, we are also taking steps to position ourselves for the recovery following impact. The security forces will ensure there is no break in public order during and after the hurricane. We will take all steps under the law to protect life and property from looting and other antisocial behavior. We urge all citizens to maintain the peace, observe the laws and various orders that may be issued, and act wisely in limiting movement and gatherings to what is necessary.
Okay, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness there speaking about the possible effects of Hurricane Melissa. We're going to go now to Halfway Tree in the center of the capital. Again, one of the parts of the city that's normally bustling with activity, but not much there. All the businesses appear to be locked up. We do see a few taxis there. 2 cars just drove out of the picture. And there's another part a little further up on the lower part of Hope Road coming into Halfway Tree. There were some persons in Halfway Tree. I did see one vendor this morning when I drove through the square. I would have thought by now all those persons have packed up their stuff and headed home rather than being on the road. But of course, as I say that, there's someone walking, a couple persons. There is a vendor still there, selling right there, right in the middle of Halfway Tree. Not sure what they expect will happen, but they certainly will be in danger if they remain there for much longer. And perhaps somebody should have a word with persons like that. There's so many persons who appear to be very stubborn, who somehow think they have superhuman powers to withstand a hurricane, especially a Category 5 hurricane. Now, Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, has been touring several communities across Kingston and St. Andrew as preparations intensify for the arrival of Hurricane Melissa.
A number of homeless individuals have already taken refuge in emergency shelters. According to Mayor of Kingston, Andrew Swaby, approximately 217 people are currently being housed in shelters throughout the municipality.
Since morning, we have asked some of the persons, the homeless persons on King Street, and carried them into the shelters. About 15 of them we have taken them to the shelter at Church Street, and about 3 females we have taken to the shelter at 65 Hanover Street. And we have been processing them. They'll be having a bath, and we give them some clothes, and they'll get some food.
In Raytown, several residents have been urged to evacuate due to the increased risk of flooding.
There's a section of Raytown area, it's the eastern side of South Side, that's McKinney Street, Charlotte Street, and Tower Street, that we believe it is prone to flooding. They're right by the gully, and it's when the storm surges come. So what we have said to the residents, we have asked the police to go in and talk to the residents, make the announcement, and ask them to move to this Holy Family school. But the buses will be coming at 1 o'clock to get them.
Meanwhile, market facilities across the city are undergoing cleaning exercises to remove garbage, which could worsen flooding conditions during the hurricane.
We don't want those garbage on the road during the hurricane. And I'll be taking my sojourn to Port Royal to observe there what's going on over there.
Any reports of persons entering any shelters yet?
Well, I have visited the national shelter at National Arena, and up to the time when I visited early this morning, there were 7 persons that were registered in there.
You're expecting?
Well, I would have expected more. I know that the upstairs section of the arena is reserved for the persons from Port Royal.
Shimala Pullen, TVJ News.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamila. Let's go now to Andrea Chisholm, who is at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. She's been there. Andrea, tell us what's happening.
No. Thank you very much. We're still at the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, where activities of the National Emergency Operations Center are in full swing. Now, the room may seem a pretty boring on face value, but quite a number of stakeholders are here working assiduously to keep up to date with what's happening with Hurricane Melissa. We have representatives from the Jamaica Defense Force, the National Works Agency, the Red Cross, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Ministry of Local Government, Jamaica Public Service Fire Brigade, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, SIDEMA, as well as the Ministry of Health. I hope I did not leave out anyone. So they are monitoring activities across Jamaica with Hurricane Melissa. And I'm now joined by Colonel Damian Creary, and he is the Colonel General Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force. Colonel, just come this way for me, please. Hi, Colonel. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us live on TVJ.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your listeners and watchers of TVJ.
Well, Hurricane Melissa is upon us. What is the role of the JDF at a time like this?
Oh, so the role of the JDF is very significant. We provide support to the ministries, departments, and agencies that are directly tasked under the Constitution and under the Disaster Risk Management Act to respond in a circumstance like this. So for ODPEM and the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, we're providing significant support to both of those entities. For ODPEM, it is support in terms of the planning and logistics, because this is a significantly heavy logistic operations. And for the Ministry of Labor, as you might know, they are responsible for providing relief to the persons who we have in the shelters across Jamaica. And after the passage of the hurricane, they would also be responsible for the usual assessments that have to be done, and relief continuing throughout the coming weeks. And so the JDF's role in that is to assist them with this logistic operation. As you can imagine, given the scale of devastation that we expect, it will have these entities stretch across the country. And where the JDF comes into that in a significant way is that we are already deployed across the country, and we're in such a position where we can go into places that our civilians might not be able to access at a time like this, and we can provide certain resources that might also not be readily available to the Ministry of Labor.
I'm happy you brought up resources. Resources like what?
Okay, so let me start with the human resource. Given how the JDF operates, there is no time of year, there is no weather condition where we are off duty, so to speak. So as at this moment, we have just about 2,000, somewhere between 2,500 and 2,600 soldiers who are physically on duty and dispersed across the island, pre-positioned in various parts of the parish, assisting already the MLSS, and also pre-positioned to respond subsequent to the passage of Hurricane Melissa. For this pre-positioning, the sort of, I'll give you an example of the sort of equipment that I'm referring to. So we have 18 protected mobility vehicles that you would usually see those in a different kind of operational role. But for this purpose, they are configured to go into areas where are inundated with water, and we have medical crews with them as well to be able to provide some level of medical support to citizens that might be in distress.
What about helicopters?
Of course, helicopters, we can't fly at a time like this, but our helicopters have been secured in such a way that immediately after the passage, we take them out of anchorage and we can respond, very shortly after the blow. And for that, our helicopter crews are prepared to provide search and rescue, as well as to assist with other skill sets, of course, prepared to assist with the damage assessment that will be necessary, and also, the necessary transportation of various persons that might also be necessary. I'll, give you a quick example of that. The Most Honourable Prime Minister and the government at large, have, spoken a lot about, how we have become more resilient as a country since the passage of Hurricane Beryl and the lessons learned. JPS, as one of our significant service providers, we're in touch with JPS literally every day. We have coordinating meetings, and so we expect that immediately after the passage, we'll be flying members of the Jamaica Public Service for them to be able to access the electricity grid and provide restoration where necessary.
So it's safe to say then that the Disaster Assistant Response Team DART within JDF has been activated.
The teams have been activated. You said DART, but we have 3 DARTs, and all 3 teams have been activated. But for this purpose, given the scale of the impact that we expect, we have gone beyond the DART, and so the DARTs, along with really the entire JDF, has been mobilized for this. Of course, not all members of the JDF will be on the ground at any one time, because we expect that we will have to sustain this effort, for the next, at least the next few weeks.
Okay. Thank you so much, Colonel Crary from the JDF, for speaking with us.
My pleasure.
Well, that's what's happening here at the National Emergency Operations Center, and we'll keep you up to date as we continue our coverage. It's back to you in studio.
Okay, thank you very much. Andrew Chisholm reporting from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. Okay, take the cranes down. That's the message being reiterated this afternoon to developers who still have cranes and other heavy equipment in place as Hurricane Melissa approaches. Our news team observed construction equipment dangling near the intersection of Shortwood and Constant Spring roads despite a growing threat from Melissa. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie is again appealing to contractors to remove the machinery immediately. And Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton has visited 4 major hospitals across the island to assess their state of readiness. Shamela Pulling reports.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is reporting that all systems are in place and the health sector is fully prepared to manage any potential impact from the hurricane's passage. The facilities visited include the Lionel Town Hospital in Clarendon, the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine, the Bustamante Hospital for Children in Kingston, and the University Hospital of the West Indies in St. Andrew.
All the hospitals, it appears, based on the reports, are prepared. Staff is in place. Provisions have been made for meals for both staff and patient. Water, other critical support systems, medication, and so on. They understand, I think, the importance of the task ahead. I've urged them to make sure their families at home are well taken care of and are protected, so that if they have to work extra hours, those hours can be worked in support of the rescue operation.
However, there are growing concerns about the number of individuals arriving at health facilities with injuries at this time. At the Spanish Town Hospital alone, 4 cases have already been reported.
Injuries that are turning up now are related to persons trying to repair, reinforce their homes, cutting down trees, climbing ladders, falling off roof, and a number of cases are coming in. So I want to just urge the public, manage how you prepare for the storm carefully so that you avoid injuring yourself or others during the process. Ask others to help if you don't know. We don't fix roof normally. Then try not to be a hero or a specialist if you're not.
The health minister also urged Jamaicans to adhere to standard safety procedures when storing food and other essential supplies ahead of the storm.
Some advisories as we go into this rain. This is likely to be the most severe weather event if it continues on this trajectory. And I personally, in my lifetime, Gilbert was the last major event. This one is equal to or maybe even more if it stays on this course, hopefully not. And that means a lot of rain, a lot of water, a lot of flooding, a lot of wind and wind damage, and we have to prepare ourselves. But in conclusion, I would say that our hospitals are prepared, the staff are in place, and we're ready to be the source of rescue and support where that is necessary.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Okay, Shamela Pullen talking about the health minister visiting 4 major hospitals. And we're going to go now to another camera. We're looking at West Parade in downtown Kingston. Again, you do see some vendors there. I think they're apparently packing up. Because I see that the back of that van opened, so I assume they're packing up to leave, to go home and to shelter from the storm. But there are other persons there. There's somebody in the foreground there with a bag and another person there in orange. There are 2 persons there walking. You know, it amazes me how these people seem to be pretty casual, going about, seemingly normal business at almost 4 o'clock on the eve of a major Category 5 hurricane hitting the island. And I don't know if it's because our last major hurricane that had a direct hit was Gilbert 37 years ago, that some of the younger persons, persons under 40, 45 perhaps have not a significant memory of what really happened, but it is a dangerous storm, folks. You need to get off the streets, get home, and be safe. Before I go to the next report, we have some breaking news just in. This is from a police source of mine. Unfortunately, in the midst of this serious adversity that the nation is facing, we have a double murder. The double murder is on William Street in Spanish Town, the old capital. It happened not too long ago. The police scene of crime are on the scene, and we'll update you as soon as we get additional information. So that's a double murder on William Street. This is in the old capital, Spanish Town. Janella Precious visited the shelter at the National Arena, where we have the largest shelter in the island end of the capital. And what are things looking like, Janella?
Thank you so much, Milton. Well, we're outside the National Arena. It is where the largest of the shelters in Kingston and St. Andrew area is located. It's rainy and windy, and as we speak, we are seeing more activity here as more persons have decided to seek shelter here. Now, I am going to speak with Milton, the shelter manager, Miss Audrey Tuller Lorne, and it has been a very interesting day as more people continue to come in, right, Audrey?
Yes, yes. Right now we have 71. I think when you came we had less than 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last night we didn't have anyone come in, but as the morning broke, you know, they just came in, you know, in droves, and we're expecting more.
You are expecting more.
Yeah.
So tell us about the immediate needs of the shelter as we speak.
All right. Well, the Red Cross headquarters, Kingston and St. Andrew branch, provide meals for them, the 3 meals. But in between, they're gonna need dry stuff. They've been asking for biscuits, for teas, anything that it's, you know, you don't need a stove to prepare. They need that. And also, sometimes after the meals are given out, you have people coming in, so they are going to need things to eat also. So any kind of food stuff we can get for them. We need toiletries for them, cleaning products, clothes, because some come in wet. We have some homeless people here, so we need clothes for them also.
So what do you provide apart from the safe haven? What else do you provide when persons come to the shelter?
We provide clothing when we have enough. We provide food for them.
So when you say you provide food, is that 3 meals a day?
3 meals a day, a cooked meal, yeah.
Do you even have enough to, I mean, we see where the numbers are growing. Do you think you have enough to provide, say, for example, 200 persons?
We can only house 150 here.
Okay.
I don't think we'll have enough, and hence our appeal to you to help us. You know, people never have enough food, and when it's raining, you always want to eat more.
Okay, so you're saying that you can only accommodate 150.
150.
What if more people, more than that number come in? Would you have to turn them back?
No, we'll have to squeeze them. It's just that people need their space.
Okay,
and sometimes when people are too close, there's conflict. So, you know, you try to give them a little 2 by 2, so it's theirs. And we don't want to, you know, to make people get too close to them.
Do you get a feeling that there's a misconception about what a shelter provides from people? Talk to me about that.
Well, most people, when they get here, because when you're trained as a shelter manager, you learn that, you know, people coming to the shelter should come with clothing, medication, and food for 3 days. Now we have people coming without clothes and without food. So they expect us to provide food for them. So that's a misconception that there's a kitchen and the pot is always going.
But that is not the case.
That is not so.
Okay, so it's very important that the donations come in so that the Red Cross can help persons. So if you are out there and you can help, it is very important because we want to ensure that this place is running, you know.
And ensure that everybody is safe.
And ensure that everybody is safe.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, Audrey. So we're going to just take a little walk. We're not going to zoom in on people, but I just want to show our viewers what it is like inside the National Arena. Again, we're not going to film anybody, but we have seen, would have said earlier, that the numbers are growing. In addition to adults, we are seeing a few children here with their mother. Persons are listening to their radio, listening to the news, listening to Radio Jamaica, listening to religious programs, and pretty much just hoping that, you know, the hurricane passes soon so that they can get their life back together. Now, we were told that we have persons here from Portmore. There are 3 persons who are from Port Royal who are here, and a lot of homeless people as well. So I just want to show you, this is the area where you have several cots.
You don't know what it means.
And when the persons come in, this will be given to them, a cot with a blanket. And there is enough, we were told. And so this is part of the process. The only thing that's needed now is additional supplies like dry goods as well as sanitary stuff. So Milton, this is what is happening at the National Arena. It is expected that as the day persists, more persons will be coming here, and the staff from the Red Cross, they say that they are ready. It's back to you in studio.
Okay, Janella Precious reporting from the National Arena. Janella, thank you very much. And as Hurricane Melissa makes her way to Jamaica at a snail's pace, the authorities have been at pains to point out that the amount of rain that is expected will overwhelm the drains and the network of gullies that crisscross the corporate area. Halshin Burke has a special feature on the drains and the gullies in the corporate area.
As we meandered through the corporate area, residents could be seen making last-minute efforts to batten down, board up and secure their premises, even while expressing fear that the gully nearby would not be so considerate. The McGregor Gully, which runs through the McGregor Gardens community in Vineyard Town, has residents fearing for what might be, having been flooded mere weeks ago. Right behind me is the McGregor Gully. Now this is a major concern for residents because each time heavy rains come, this gully floods. And with heavy rains over the past couple of weeks, the residents here have been moving out. Now with Melissa threatening and the waters rising, there is even more concern for the residents as to what will happen. They're appealing to the authorities to come and offer them assistance. Nathaniel Bundy has been living on the banks of the McGregor Gully for most of his life and has seen the havoc that fast-moving waters from the gully can have.
Well, the main concern for residents currently is flooding. Right, because this area is a flood-prone area, as you can see. From future experiences, this area is always flooded. The water travels down this passage here, goes into the gully. The water travels into the gully, but it goes over into the community. Right, so once there's an excessive flow of water coming from the channel, it goes and spills into the community, causing excessive flooding. Persons lose their house stuff, vehicles get damaged. Beds, stuff, all of these things, goat. So there's a lot of issues currently facing that in terms of that problem. So I think there's a center currently in the community on Langston Terrace side, right? I think there's provisions that are needed in that aspect too, just in case that these things occur. I think this morning they started prepping for that aspect, but there isn't a lot of supplies currently. I know that this area will be flooding a couple hours from now.
We had some heavy rains over the past couple of weeks. You know, Halfway Tree area flooded, Crossroads area flooded. What was happening here during that time?
Well, during that period, and it wasn't even a lot of rainfall, but there was excessive flooding as well. Persons still haven't recovered from that era. Mr. AJ and Langston, who is a shop owner, clean out the mud out of field yard yet. And as you can see right here, the road is torn apart from that last flooding. So the ground already is tearing up, and the water already starting to travel through and going into the gully and over into the community as it would usually do. So I think some infrastructure work needs to be done here to try to diffuse that aspect from reoccurring. It's a thing that reoccurs every time rain falls. All right, so. Some groundwork is needed, but it's a thing that is going to happen for sure.
We noticed that some areas have been concreted and some walls have been elevated and some areas have been repaired. Has that not helped?
Well, it not to an extent, but it has decreased the effect over the years because they try to build up the walls a little bit higher from that area to here, and they try to get the structure a little bit firmer so that the ground does not break away. But that still won't reduce the effect of the flooding that will go into the community. It probably would allow the road to stay, but the water will still find its way on it and over into the community. So I think that there needs to be a wall, or probably the road needs to be widened, the gully needs to be widened so that the water can have more space to travel before it reaches this corner, so it avoids going into the community. So that's the only suggestion I could say.
For 34 years, Natalia Bundy has called McGregor Gully home And in that time, she's seen its best days and worst.
I really have nowhere to go, and the flooding not really bother our house still, but cross the bridge, they're mostly affected. I really have a bad experience, our roof never blew off yet. As I see my uncle try do what he can do, and I tie down my little piece of AC and I sweep off the roof and I try to get everything, so I nail up the window there in case, because it open. So we don't really have no bad experience over here, but regarding to over the gully itself, you have people who get flood and all type of things.
So what are you expecting to happen from this storm?
I don't know. I don't know it will work out that time, but we just wish for the best. Outside, man, always outside. Always outside.
Looking at the water now, based on what you're seeing now and what your experience has been, is this going to get any worse?
Yeah, it will come right up. But as I tell you, it come to the brim, but it never come over my side yet. But it come way up and it normally bursts. It normally come over from up the top there, so, and come down in the gully. So that's why the people them get the flooding. All when them fix it, them try to do other things to make it work, and it just keep on and come over.
So what would you like to see the authorities do?
Boy, I never know. Try to build a thick wall so the water not come over. Because not even hurricane alone, all when little rain fall, like enough rain, it still, it come from way uptown and so the water heavy, so it always come over. So me I say, if them probably build a big thick wall from up that side where it normally come over from, probably that will save them. Well, that's my opinion, I don't know.
Where you now move?
When I get rich. When I get rich and I get my house, I move. But I'm not going to go left my family. Them do say, so everybody are going to leave. Because my brother, them, I wonder how I go on. Yeah, but it's not so bad over here. As I tell you, I just over here, so mostly need the help. And once there's a fix, them find a solution so the water not come over, I guess everything else will all right. That's the problem. Because people roof not really blow off, not really blow off, just the water are the problem.
I'm standing in Sandy Lane in the Ligony area of St. Andrew. And right where I'm standing, right on the bank of the Sandy Gully, stood a two-story dwelling with 6 family members who during the passage of Hurricane Sandy in 2010 lost their lives when the house collapsed into the Sandy Gully. Now, on the banks, there are many others who are still living on the banks of the Sandy Gully. Concerned? Not so much. They are looking to ride out the storm as Melissa passes by. For those living on the Gully bank, this narrow track is the only lifeline connecting residents to their homes. Why did you choose to live here on the Gully side?
Well, sometimes, I wasn't living down here all along. I was living up the top, but I used to pay rent, and after that I got somewhere down here to build. So I came down here and build.
Aren't you concerned about the gully overflowing its banks?
Well, from I am here, it really never overflow. It come up high, but it don't really come over.
And your neighbors, you have had neighbors who used to be here, but the house has collapsed.
The house has collapsed and life were lost.
Aren't you afraid that might happen to you at some point?
Sometimes I'm a little afraid, like no, but if I have to evacuate, I will.
And with Melissa coming now, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I am trusting God that for the best, that with Melissa coming, I won't be in danger. So I just keep trusting God. But as I said, if I have to move, I will move.
Do you have friends and family that you will be moving to, or where would you go?
Well, I have friends and family and church family further up the road.
And how long have you been living here?
I am living here for over 40 years.
So you have seen the best and the worst of it? I
have seen the best and the worst.
And what do you think now of it? Based on what you're seeing, based on the state of the gully, based on the weather, what you think?
For this gully personally, I am not scared right now because it keep running. The only time I would be afraid if it come up, right? But for now, it keep running. So as long as it keep running, I don't think I will be in danger, right? The reason why we were in danger the last time because the house fell over in the gully, and because the house went over in the gully, it blocked the gully. So we were in danger at that time. And we didn't have, we were cut off, so we had to move and take other refuge.
Lloyd Campbell has not only lived life on the edge for over 50 years, but has even managed to till the soil.
Everywhere was like open land, bush and thing, and when me as a Rasta man, cause we have dreadlocks a ground, when I come down here and start farm the place, over the period of time I build a little ranch, you know, and after I build a little ranch, I there till I develop it up and go and do my little thing, and till it work out to when Sandy come now. Sandy come and move everything, cause girl live next, but she be like house upon the gully edge. Remember the gully had just a stone face them alone. They on the gully, so she take 3 hours put on and bill. But she want 2 or 3 stores, I remember. So anyone lady will live over there, so say, who is that who for house over there? I house lean, you know. And thing anyhow go on, and when Sandy come now, me and my woman at the house, and she said, turn on the light. Me I said, turn on the light. You know, here sitting in the gully, say, what that got sounds in the gully. I say, must say a stone come down, I think when you take a stack of the girl next door house dropping at the gully. So 6 of them die in a sandy thing. And my house wash it out. At the Thursday, the last piece dropping at the gully. So comes on, I relocate and build further up. So I figure I'm safe now because the gully stay there, or them cast it with premix or them thing down. So I don't have no fret.
Based on what is happening and what you're expecting from Melissa, do you expect anything major to be happening?
Well, them say right now it's serious, so I figure something major will happen because them say it's slow and kind of hard. So I expect probably thing will go on, you know. I know the loss of life or the property will go on, but to them I say it'll linger and I'll go slow and the strength tight. So I figure something will happen.
So what are you going to be doing?
I'm just going to live, you know. I'm going to live easy and expect it for blood through and go, so.
So you won't be relocating or anything?
No, man. I move on. I'm a good man. No gully now come trouble me up or so on. When them fix the gully last time, if I went stone the dead, I know me that afraid. But another stone, a real concrete as you can see. You understand? So we just go and ride out the storm, you know.
So you're in a better stead now than before?
Yeah, man. First time I have zinc house, so I have a little concrete. I'll do it a leak, because the rain a linger, it a drop through the concrete same way, but right, that's something I stay, man. I know really relocate going away. You understand? So I just saw it go till that time there. All right? I make some juice, you know. Some juice and star fruit, you see it. And I go and ease myself, so they come away now, I go digging at it, you know. All right? So go and hold it. Yeah, man, I'm cool, man.
Concerns have often been raised about the fate of the Seaview Gardens community when there are heavy rains, as it sits on the edge of the sandy gully. Despite this, however, Cliff is not overly anxious. What has been the experience when heavy rains?
When heavy rains, the whole road become like the sea. You understand? So sometimes even if it get drastic to a level, we have to use the boat to assist people. Back then, what I know of, like in Gilbert, from my experience, and we basically get stuck as far as you know, I know St. Patrick Foundation over there black. To the side we call Marley, over to the back road there black, and then down in the middle where we go through we call front scheme black, and you know we just have to stay put.
So what have you seen in previous years?
What have I seen in previous years? Endless rain, countless debris, all different kind of thing, old vehicle, you know, refrigerator, overflow, the whole thing blocked, you know.
Mm-hmm. So and are residents affected? Are homes flooded out? What's that like?
Most definitely. People lose them roof. It you know, because you know after every rainfall the roof give way. People lose their animals like pig farmers, chicken farmers, goat farmers, all of that.
Your house is near to the sandy bank. How has that affected you?
Well, crazy. We have to do a lot of rebuilding. You know, we lose a lot of material too. People have material that they dump to the building, wash away also. My house really, it don't affect it so much because, you know, we do a lot of preparation, me and my brother-in-law and the family in hand, you know, ahead of time.
Why not relocate? Why are you still living close to the Sandy Gully?
Well, we have different locations, you know. My family per se have different locations, but you don't know, we have the, what you call it, sentimental attachment to the community after being here so many years, and we not leave out the people, you understand? We rather stay with the community and make sure, say, we put our hands together and strengthen the community instead of just migrate to the hills or country, you understand?
With Melissa now making her way to Jamaica, what has been the preparation been like for residents of Seaview?
Well, everybody pull together whatever little piece of rope we can get, to whatever little wall nail, some zinc, you know. We make, you know, have a little meeting, say if anybody, you know, don't have the necessary facilities to stay, they can come over there. The MP and local guys have some of the people know by the school, you know, the primary school, Seaview Garden Primary, and, you know, we try few guys go out and check on the neighbors, the elderly and whatever throughout the time. Like you come and see us now, we outside checking around on the little neighbors and whoever not able to do it on their own.
Despite the looming threat of Hurricane Melissa, these residents are taking what precautions they can, drawing strength from one another as they await the storm's passage. Their hope is simple, that this time their homes will withstand the force of nature and that the promise of a more permanent fix will be realized once the skies clear. Hal Shane Burke, TVJ News.
And now, to end this update, we bring you shots of the waterfront where the waves have been quite ferocious. This is what it looked like earlier. Tourists were taking pictures and videos of the situation as it unfolded, and the live view from the waterfront on the Sea Jamaica camera. The buildings along the harbour are no longer visible. It's actually very foggy. That's the view of the harbour from the Sea Jamaica camera. The area is very foggy. The waves are even rougher. Not much to see there, but definitely horrible, horrible, treacherous conditions out there. So please get inside if you're outside. Stay indoors. Secure your property. This hurricane is very, very dangerous. Please, folks, take it seriously. We do not have us hoping we could get some update on that double murder in Spanish Town on William Street. Horrible situation in the midst of the hurricane, but that's all we have time for now in this latest update. I'm Milton Walker. Join us again at 6 o'clock as we carry the press briefing live from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management when we get the latest on what's happening with Hurricane Melissa. And of course, Primetime News will follow immediately at 7 o'clock. And we'll of course have updates later this evening. I'm Milton Walker. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon.